And you start building that relationship very, very quickly if you go out and share some love first and don't expect everybody just to come to you.
Hi everyone, welcome to another Marketing Snapshot. And this week I've got Nicola Moss from Moss Social with me. Hi Nicola.
Hello, good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm very well, how are you?
Good, yeah, I'm good, thank you. So Nicola, do you want to tell everyone a little bit about what you do?
Okay, well, as you said, my name's Nicola. I recently started up my social media marketing business, and I aim to help small business owners get in front of their ideal audience through social media marketing. And I know in particular, I've been working recently a lot on Instagram and been running some workshops and group training. I know you wanted to talk about Instagram particularly today. Yeah.
That would be great, because we've not really talked about Instagram per se on here yet. So tell us a bit about Instagram and why is it important? How can people use it in a way that it helps their business?
Oh, lots of questions in one go.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. Well, I love Instagram. There are so many moving parts though, and I think that's what puts a lot of people off. People have been busily trying to market themselves on Facebook for many years now, and the algorithms have made it so difficult to reach their audience that they have built up themselves over the years. Facebook is really restricting it down. So it's now only about 5% of your following who actually see the posts that you put out, which is really, really frustrating. So when Instagram came along, it was another opportunity to try and get back to that organic audience growth, because you don't want to be paying for adverts all the time. These Facebook adverts are so tricky to understand, and you can end up spending an awful lot of money and sort of going down a bit of a rabbit hole with them. So Instagram is a good opportunity to get in front of your audience, and we are finding that that audience sort of age band is widening as well. So it used to be really very much for the youngsters, and now we're finding a lot more business owners on there, and also customers who you're hoping to sell to. So it's the ideal place to be, and there are lots and lots of ways to engage with them. And that is the key, as I see it, in marketing your business, is to get in front of your ideal audience and give them the opportunity to ask you questions, and you can give them those answers so that you can build up that relationship before they think about buying from you. And we know, don't we, that it's a lot about know, like and trust. So it's a great opportunity to let people know a little bit about you.
Fab. So with Instagram then, I guess obviously you've got, if you're going to use Instagram, you've got to make sure that your target market's on there. I mean, people always say to me, you're a photographer, you should be on Instagram, and I am. But obviously you've got to make sure there's no point in me putting loads of photos on there if my ideal audience aren't there. So how would you know if your ideal audience are on there or not, or whether it's the right place for you?
Well, I think the first thing to do is have a little look around on there, and you'll have an idea of maybe who some of your competitors are, or even if they're not your direct competitors, they may be somebody in other parts of the country, and see how they're using it, see if they're using it, see if they're getting engagement, what kind of things they get engagement on. And then you can think, okay, so my target audience does appear to be on here because they're having success on here. So that is a simple way to have a look. That would be my first suggestion.
Excellent. Okay, so just kind of getting bit back towards Moss Social. What obviously you do social media, and you do it in a unique way. Because you are Nicola Moss and nobody else is Nicola Moss.
Well, yes.
So how do you do what you do differently to other people?
Okay, well, I think the key is engagement. I mean, my social media story started sort of quite by accident, really. I was working in tourism at the time, and we had been told, you know, when you have these sort of sector gatherings, we would have these tourism forums, and we were told again and again, you must be on social media. And quite honestly, the organisation I worked for was a castle, and we were not the most hip and happening place. So we'd kind of been hoping it might go away, that it would be a fad. And as we all know, many, many years later, it is not a fad. It is not going anywhere. In fact,
Yeah.
it's just increasing in momentum. So we kind of were strong armed into it, really. I remember this lady giving us a presentation, and we'd kind of, oh, we've got so much to do already. And like most business owners, where do you find the time to fit that in as well? And we were thinking, well, how on earth are we going to manage it? And basically, I was sitting with my boss who looked at me and I looked at him, and he said, that'll be you then. So it was up to me then to kind of work out how to do it. And at the time, it was Facebook. Twitter was around about the same kind of time. So those were the two channels we started on. And I was very fortunate, really, to start my social media journey with a nice, happy place, because people were coming to this tourist attraction for nice days out, for weddings, few conferences, that kind of thing. So getting engagement was quite straightforward. It was very much about having a conversation, and you felt like you were talking to these individuals. And I think that is the key. When you are posting anything out on social media, think about it that you're only talking to one person, because we're not all gathered around one phone, are we? And oh yes, there's all of us looking at this phone together. You're looking at that on your own or on your laptop. You are generally on your own. So speak to that one person. But I think the big key is remembering this is not broadcast media. It is social media. It is not just for broadcasting out and putting out adverts. It is for becoming social, building a conversation, building a relationship with your potential audience. So that's the key, is engagement. And I feel that you should, if you're only just starting out, the best thing is to actually start engaging first before you start posting out. And I know we are going to go on to tips, but I've got one tip for you here, and I'll save one for later, is to go and have a good search around. And if you see a business that's maybe got a complementary, they're a complementary business to you, so they have a similar audience, you could go and have a look at some of the people who are engaging with that account, and actually go in and like a few of their posts, because each time you like something, they will get a notification. And if you turn up and maybe there are 3 notifications from you, what's the human instinct going to do? We're going to go and have a look, aren't we? We're going to go and think, who is this person who's liking us? And you start building that relationship very, very quickly if you go out and share some love first and don't expect everybody just to come to you.
That's an excellent tip. That's really good.
I do try.
Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, as I say, I'm terrible on the Instagram. I really do need to get better at it, but it's finding time. Fab. So we've done most of the questions that I normally ask. We have covered. So it's time for the tip question, the golden tip question. So Nicola, so what one tip can you give to anybody who's watching this, can go and do something now on Instagram that will help them move their business forward?
Okay, so if you are putting stories out on Instagram, and stories are very much about your behind the scenes, so they don't need to be perfect pictures, and I'm not saying any of them need to be, apart from photographers, of course, but if you think about using stories for your background, telling people a bit about what you do, how your day is working, how they could work with you, how you plan your day, what kind of things go into making what you do happen. So you can start asking questions in those. If you start getting answers, they will drop into your direct messages. In direct messages, there is now an opportunity to send a voice note. Now, I don't know about you, but that is a great way of building connection really, really quickly. So, and let's face it, it's quicker than typing. So, what would be nice is if you were able to send a nice little voice note as a thank you for commenting on my story. You know, if you'd like any more information, just drop me a line. And I think that that will help build your audience really, really quickly, because I'll think, oh, they've taken the time. They've taken the trouble to actually answer me in person. So that's my top tip.
That's nice. And is that only if you post something in stories, or is that for any kind of DM?
Yeah, well, all the direct messages tend to come in through your stories. They might come in if somebody sends you just a message for the sake of sending a message, but the likelihood is that they would drop in through your stories. But it gives you a great opportunity to start that conversation.
Fab. So, if anybody wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way to find you?
Well, my email is the best way. I am nicola@mosssocial.co.uk, but I am on Instagram @mosssocial. So send me a direct message and I'll send you a voice note. But I'm on all the socials. Yeah, LinkedIn. Right. And I have, there is a time-saving tip that I would love to share. So if anybody wants it, I can always leave the link to get that in your comments below.
Fabulous. Thank you very much. Nicola, that's been brilliant. Thank you ever so much for joining me today and for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been really good fun.
It has, hasn't it? And thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you again for the next Marketing Snapshot. Bye.